For more than half a century since the final footprints of the Apollo 17 mission froze into the gray dust in 1972, the moon has been nothing but a symbol of nostalgia. We left flags, we left metal plaques, but we never built a home. For 54 years, the moon has remained cold and empty. Today, on a desolate coast in Boca Chica, Texas, a 400-foot beast of stainless steel is roaring to tear open the new frontier, to turn the moon into a permanent harbor. We need a far more ruthless, practical kind of propellant: absolute financial freedom. SpaceX's historic $75 billion IPO filing on Wall Street is not a story about stock market manipulation or individual wealth. This is the exact moment a private dream becomes a vital asset for human civilization. It is a calculated mechanism to unleash Starship from budget constraints and accelerate the construction of a permanent moon base faster than any computer model predicted. Today, we're talking about the exact reason why $75 billion is going to be one of the last few steps for us to actually have a moon base and become a multi-planetary species by 2030. Let's begin. To understand why that mountain of cash is so critical, we have to look past the spectacular launch videos and dive straight into the grease, the steel, and the hidden engineering traps that keep aerospace technicians awake at night. Starship is the most powerful machine ever engineered, but right now it is fighting a brutal war against physics, and physics does not care about Wall Street deadlines. Every single dollar from this IPO has a very dirty, practical job. It is being funneled directly onto the factory floor to fix 4 critical hardware flaws that are currently blocking our path to the moon. The first flaw is a silent, invisible killer that no camera can catch: cryogenic boil-off. Starship breathes liquid methane and liquid oxygen, both frozen to a brutal -300 degrees Fahrenheit. For a quick 10-minute flight into Earth orbit, keeping them cold is easy, but a journey to the moon takes days. In the vacuum of space, intense solar radiation constantly bakes the vehicle's steel hull, causing that super-chilled fuel to slowly boil and vaporize into useless gas. Think of it like a cheap cooler left under the burning sun. No matter how thick the walls are, the ice inside will eventually melt away. If SpaceX cannot solve this insulation puzzle, Starship will arrive at the moon with nothing left but empty tanks. Every dollar SpaceX has tried to throw at this problem in the last 2 years has competed with Starship's flight test program for budget. With the cash infusion from a public offering, the cryogenic insulation engineers, the people at SpaceX's propulsion facility in Hawthorne, who have been working this problem in parallel with everything else, finally get the uninterrupted resources to close it for good. The second reason why SpaceX needs this massive injection of cash is to completely re-engineer how Starship lands on the moon, specifically by funding a radical new hardware configuration called the mid-body engines. Here is the physics of landing on the moon, explained plainly. When Starship descends to the lunar surface, it fires its engines to slow down and touch down gently. Those engines produce an enormous exhaust plume, and the moon has no atmosphere to disperse it. That plume hits the surface at tremendous velocity and kicks up a cloud of regolith, lunar dust, that travels in every direction at thousands of miles per hour because there is nothing to slow it down. Regolith is not gentle. Each grain is sharp as broken glass, electrostatically charged and invisible. During Apollo 12, the lander touched down 180 meters away from a probe called Surveyor 3 that had been sitting undisturbed on the surface for 2 years. When astronauts walked over to inspect it, they found it had been sandblasted clean by the dust cloud the landing engines kicked up from 180 meters away. Imagine what that does to solar panels, to thermal radiators, to the fragile seals on a habitat meant to be inhabited for months. SpaceX engineers have a solution in development, moving the landing engines to a mid-body position on the Starship lunar lander variant, angling the thrust outward so the plume fans away from directly below the vehicle rather than straight down. This dramatically reduces the regolith erosion problem. But integrating those engines, redesigning the attachment points, and testing the new configuration requires manufacturing new hardware and running flights that exist solely to validate this geometry. That is not cheap, and it is currently sitting on a funding wait list. The third problem is the one that makes investors nervous because it sounds impossible: orbital propellant transfer. Getting from Earth's surface to the lunar surface in a single Starship requires more propellant than the vehicle can carry at launch. This has been known since the beginning of the program. The solution is to launch a tanker version of Starship separately, rendezvous in Earth orbit, and transfer cryogenic propellant from the tanker to the mission vehicle before it heads to the moon. The third reason why SpaceX is tapping into Wall Street's capital is to build a high-speed orbital gas station network, specifically by funding a massive series of dedicated flight tests to master orbital propellant transfer. To understand where the money goes, picture 2 massive semi-trucks blasting side by side down a highway at 17,500 miles per hour, while one pumps super-chilled, volatile rocket fuel into the other through a high-pressure hose. That is the brutal reality of getting Starship to the moon. A single Starship cannot carry enough fuel to reach the lunar surface on its own. It leaves Earth nearly empty. To fix this, SpaceX must launch separate tanker ships to meet the main vehicle in orbit and fill its belly. Right now, these critical tanker test flights are being choked, forced to wait in the same long launch line behind commercial Starlink satellites and government payloads. The money from this IPO will change everything. It will allow SpaceX to weaponize its supply chain, buying raw materials, building a duplicate fleet of dedicated tanker ships, and running a parallel flight test program that doesn't rob resources from their daily launch business until NASA hands over the human-rated certification. The fourth problem is the one that explains why the IPO is happening now in 2026, rather than 5 years from now. The timeline pressure coming out of Washington. SpaceX spent approximately $3 billion on Starship development in 2025 alone. Starlink generates meaningful revenue, but not at the rate Starship consumes it. There are also debt obligations tied to SpaceX's capital structure, money borrowed to fund concurrent development across multiple programs simultaneously. And critically, NASA has made clear through its program office that the Artemis landing architecture depends on a Starship lunar lander that can demonstrate propellant transfer in orbit before any crewed landing is scheduled. If SpaceX cannot hit that milestone on a timeline compatible with the broader Artemis mission sequence, the agency has contractual mechanisms to bring Blue Origin's competing lunar lander architecture back into primary position. Jeff Bezos has been patient. Blue Origin's National Team Lander, developed with a consortium including Lockheed Martin, Draper, and Boeing's Aerospace Heritage teams, is not a fantasy. It is an alternate path that NASA has the authority to walk. SpaceX cannot afford to give NASA a reason to walk it. This is why the engineers at Boca Chica are working the way they are working. It is why the test cadence has been relentless. And it is why the capital markets decision that everyone is treating as a financial story is, in its bones, a race against a contract clock with the moon at the finish line. Now, I want to say something honest about the competitive landscape that I believe our audience deserves to hear plainly. China's space program is not bluffing. Their Chang'e 6 mission returned the first samples from the lunar far side in 2024. Material no human hand had ever touched before. Their Jade Rabbit rovers have been operating on the lunar surface with quiet, methodical competence for years. The Chinese National Space Administration has stated publicly and formally that they intend to land taikonauts at the lunar South Pole by 2030, and the infrastructure they have been building, the tracking stations, the heavy lift vehicles, the sample return capability, reflects an institution that executes on what it announces. I say this not with alarm, but with the respect that genuine engineering achievement demands. They are worthy competitors in the fullest sense of that phrase. And the reason that matters to you and me is simple. Shackleton, Connecting Ridge cannot belong to two nations at once in any practical sense. Whoever builds permanent infrastructure there first determines the rules of access to the water ice beneath it, the propellant that could fuel every mission into the deeper solar system for the next century. We are not talking about a flag photo. We are talking about the first extraterrestrial resource that has the potential to make interplanetary travel economically viable. The fourth reason why this IPO capital is non-negotiable is to fund the ultimate heavy lift vehicle that connects Earth's factories to the moon, because right now, Starship is the only machine capable of carrying our future on its back. Look at the blueprints currently waiting at NASA's Johnson Space Center. The Foundation Surface Habitat, a massive 3-story pressurized outpost, is engineered for a specific, unforgiving coordinate at the lunar South Pole. Beside it, Rolls-Royce is perfecting a compact nuclear fission reactor the size of a pickup truck, designed to generate power inside permanent shadows, where solar panels are completely useless. Add in the heavy pressurized rovers and the industrial machinery required to extract and electrolyze water ice into rocket propellant. None of this hardware can get to the moon on a standard rocket. Every single piece of this permanent infrastructure is custom-tailored to fit inside the massive cargo bay of Starship. There is no plan B. There is no backup launcher in existence that can carry these payloads. That is why accelerating Starship's development timeline isn't just a corporate goal for SpaceX. It is the single point of failure for the entire Artemis program. A public offering that raises the capital SpaceX needs to close these 4 engineering problems in the next 2 to 3 years, rather than the next 5 to 7 years, is not a Wall Street event. It is a compressor of history. You and I were alive when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the Sea of Tranquility, and the whole world stopped to watch. The generation that watched that understands something about what it feels like when humanity does something it has never done before. When you look up at the moon on a clear night and know, with certainty, that a human is standing on it. That feeling is not nostalgia. It is the definition of what we are capable of, carved into the permanent record of what our species has actually done when we decided something was worth doing. From the high-tech factory floors in Texas to the permanent shadows of the lunar South Pole, we are no longer just dreaming of the cosmos. We are weaponizing our collective ambition to build a permanent home among the stars. If you want to lean into the grease, the steel, and the unyielding physics of this new space age with us, hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Thank you for watching, my friends. The moon is not finished surprising us, and neither are we. See you in the next frontier.